Belly and her family have been going to Susanna's beach house since she was really young. The beach house belongs to her mother, Laurel's best friend, Susanna. This summer, as Belly's packing, her best friend Taylor tells her to finally make a move on Conrad, who she's been in love with since she was 12. She, her divorced mom Laurel, and her brother Stephen get to the house and the boys come out to say hi to her and they pull her into the pool. A big theme this episode is Belly's big and noticeable growth spurt since last summer. She's really pretty now, or less nerdy, and boys are starting to notice. She's meant to go on some errand with her mom, but she ends up going swimming with one of the boys. Savannah is also hosting a book party, Laurel is an author, for Laurel at the country club. We learn that Laurel and her husband are newly divorced and she was the one who initiated it, but they've gotten to a place where they're fine now, and Belly and Stephen's dad is even coming to visit the house on the 4th of July. While she's at the bookstore making fun of another author, Cleveland, who she finds pretentious, it just so happens that Cleveland is there and he hears her. At dinner that evening, everybody finds out that Conrad has dropped out of soccer, so he won't be going to training camp this summer. Susanna gives Belly an invitation to the local debutante ball, and most people, including Belly's mom, think that it's archaic and not really Belly's style, but Belly says that she'll think about it. Belly goes for a night swim and she chats with Conrad. He smokes pot now, something that he was against in the past. Belly points this out and she says that she thinks that he should quit. He asks her why she's considering the debutante thing. She shouldn't let Susanna treat her like a little doll just because she never had any sons. Conrad is moody and different and Belly wants to know why, but just as he might say something, Stephen and Jeremiah come out interrupting them. Belly calls Taylor later saying that things are weird with Conrad. Before they arrived at the house though, a guy in the local store had invited Belly to come to some bonfire on the beach that the boys are also going to. She wears a dress that Susanna had packed for her and she decides to go to the bonfire. Well, she sneaks out. Her brother is mad that she's there dressed in a barely there dress. Conrad is there making out with a girl named Nicole, so that sucks for Belly. She eventually meets a nice guy named Cam and they instantly hit it off. They chat and he gives her his hoodie. He's from around there and his mother works in the country club. He says he should actually be leaving because he's interning on a whale watching boat in the morning, but he's not ready for the night to end. Conrad meanwhile is drunk and he's getting rowdy. Belly goes to intervene as he starts fighting and she gets pushed over in the chaos. The police come in and the kids all scatter. Cam offers to ride Belly home, but the boys refuse to let her get driven home by a guy that she just met. He does invite her to join on the whale watching boat the next morning though, and she says yes, and they kiss. I already know that this guy is going to get John Ambrosed. Belly RSVPs yes to the debutante ball and she joins Conrad on the beach the morning after, and he invites her to get muffins, but she says she has things to do. She doesn't say this to Conrad, but yeah, she wants to go whale watching with Cam. In episode 2, Belly misses the whale watching boat. She got there too late. She goes back to the house and Susanna is really excited about her saying she'll be a debutante. Conrad is very moody about it, saying that it isn't who Belly is. Belly spends the rest of the morning shopping for girly clothes and a debutante gown with her mom and Susanna. Stephen and Jerry are having fun working at the country club over the summer. Jeremiah ends up walking Belly over to her tea party at the club. She ends up sitting with the girl who likes Jeremiah, Nicole, who was making out with Conrad, and the girl who's friends with Stephen. Her name is Shayla. They're all really nice actually. Just then Cam passes by and Belly tells him that she missed the boat. He asks for her number then and invites her to go to the drive-in with him. Savannah is an artist and she asks Conrad to sit for his portrait first. She tries to bond with him a little bit, but he's not having it. He's not rude to her, he's actually quite gentle with her, he just doesn't feel like talking. Before Belly leaves on her date, we get another Conrad scowl. The date goes well and Belly and Cam have an awkward hand moment. The famous writer Cleveland comes to Laurel's book signing, and because he knows nothing about sailing and he needs to learn for his next book, Laurel introduces him to Conrad, who is really good at sailing. He's won some competitions. There also seems to be a budding something there between Laurel and Cleveland. Later, Conrad suggests that he, Jer, and Stephen go to the drive-in. Just as Belly and Cam are about to kiss, the boys arrive and they interrupt things. Belly is quite upset because they're teasing her and she asks them to leave, which they eventually do. She gets back to her date and it's awkward for a minute, but they end up making out and it's actually really cute. Shayla, who Stephen has been hooking up with, asks Stephen to be her date to the debutante ball and he says yes. At the end of the episode, when Belly gets home, she confronts Conrad about crashing her date and kind of ruining things. I mean, doesn't he have anything better to do on a Saturday night? He's defensive and too cool for school about it all, and Belly ends up walking away. She wonders if this is how all crushes die. In episode 3, it's Belly's birthday, and she's always celebrated her birthday at the summer house. She gets some pearls clothes from Susanna, a first edition book from Laurel, a sweater from Stephen, and a charm from Jeremiah. Conrad does have a gift for her, but at the last minute, he lies and he says that he forgot to get her a gift. Jeremiah and Belly go to pick Taylor up from the bus stop. She's visiting for a bit, and she's already kind of being the worst. She would prefer to go out partying for Belly's birthday, and she kind of turns her nose up at the plan to have a lobster dinner hosted by Susanna at home. Then she's visibly annoyed when Belly even mentions her big sister, her Deb's sister, Nicole. They all play about in the pool that afternoon, and Taylor accidentally on purpose hits Nicole on the head with a ball. Conrad takes Nicole inside and he makes sure that she's okay. Later on, Taylor tells Belly that she's kind of freaked out about her glow up. After Belly's birthday dinner, she and Taylor go to Nicole's party. Jeremiah makes out with some guy and he's generally being the life of the party as always. Belly catches Taylor and Stephen making out at the party and they have a big fight. Taylor thinks that Belly has main character syndrome, which to be fair, she kind of does. But Taylor has also been acting out because she's kind of insecure. The guys are outside chatting with Cam about the fact that Belly hasn't asked him to the ball yet, and Jer says that he's sure that she'll ask. But Belly ends up not asking him. You can see that Cam wants to be asked. Oh, poor John Ambrose. While looking for something in Conrad's drawer, Belly accidentally finds the infinity bracelet that he got for her birthday. So he told her about the infinity loop back when they were kids, so it was kind of their thing. Taylor leaves eventually. The girls are on the outs. Laurel tells Belly that boys come and go, but friends are for a lifetime. They do seem to need a cooling off period though. Stephen asks Belly not to tell anybody about the Taylor hookup, and at the end of the episode, Susanna and Laurel are talking on the beach and we find out that Susanna has cancer and she doesn't want to go through treatment. She says she plans on telling the kids after the summer when they get back to Boston. In episode 4, it's the 4th of July, and Belly's dad is coming, but the boys' dad can't make it because of a work thing. Conrad helps Belly make up the guest room for her dad and Victoria. He's being so sweet here, and the bar is so low for this guy that I don't blame Belly for falling for these crumbs. The kids meet their dad's girlfriend Victoria, and she seems really nice. This is obviously the Conrad giving crumbs episode. He's in a better mood. He joins Belly and Jeremiah making cocktails, and then the boy's dad arrives, and Jer is very happy to see him, but Conrad isn't. Susanna also isn't, but it seems that Laurel invited him. Belly takes the cocktails out to the beach, and she's ready to play drinking games with everybody. This won't end well. Poor Cam, who doesn't drink alcohol, is there as well. I think he knows at this point that he's not the first choice. When he kind of sees her maybe looking at Conrad, I can't tell that Cam can see that she's looking at Conrad, just that she's not really paying much attention to Cam. In her drunk state, Belly accidentally spills that Stephen kissed Taylor at the party, before Cam pulls her away for a walk on the beach. Then everybody decides to leave. Shayla confronts Stephen about the kiss, and they both kind of pretend that they're not exclusive anyway, so it's not a big deal, even though you can see that they're both hurt, and they mean more to each other. Belly goes to drunkenly talk to Conrad while he's taking an outdoor shower. She's flirty. She asks about the infinity necklace, and then again in her drunken state, she slips and pushes Susanna over by accident, and they both go tumbling down with the cake. Susanna tells Laurel that Adam, her husband, cheated on her with his secretary 3 years ago. After Belly's drunk disasters, Adam blames Conrad for being the oldest and not keeping an eye on her and letting her get so drunk. When Stephen tells Jeremiah that Shayla knows about the Taylor kiss, but that she doesn't want to be exclusive anyway, Jer is like, no, she wanted you to say that you want to be exclusive. This is how girls are. Stephen goes over to Shayla then and he says that he wants to be exclusive. He doesn't want to be with anybody else. He just got nervous. They kiss and make up. Laurel goes to a bar and bumps into Cleveland there, and they end up chatting over drinks. They end up going into Laurel's car and they have sex. Belly tells Laurel that she's not sure that she feels fireworks with Cam, and she asks her mom how you know you're sure that you're with the right person. She goes out to join Conrad then, who's watching the fireworks. He apologizes for not giving Belly the necklace. He says he did get it for her, but he got embarrassed. Then he says to Belly, you don't know the effect you have on people. I know this is kind of a common line in romantic storylines, but when you have a character like Belly, who she's a cute girl, but as a character she's kind of boring. It's like, no, I don't see the effect that she has on anybody. I know that all these boys like her, but I don't see. Anyway, Conrad moves to kiss Belly then, and their lips almost touch, but they're interrupted by an upset Jer who lets off a firework when he sees them about to kiss. In episode 5, we get a memory of Conrad teaching Belly how to dance when they were kids. In the present, She's practicing her dance moves at the club, and she's kind of stressing about what to text Conrad. She settles on texting him good morning. She doesn't have a dance partner, and Nicole offers to be her partner for the day, but she's going to need an actual partner for the ball. By the way, Nicole asks her if she's seen Conrad because he's left her on red all night, and Belly says no. Conrad smiles when he sees Belly's text, and he goes looking for her, but obviously she's gone. He's in a good mood, and he offers to make Jer some eggs for breakfast. Laurel goes out with the coffee, and she and Susanna made up. They had argued the day before because Laurel thinks that Susanna should tell her kids because she's going to need all the help that she can get, and Susanna just wants to have her one last perfect summer. Jer comes to the Deb's dance practice, and he dances with Belly, and she's the envy of all. Conrad shows up, and both Nicole and Belly, who think that Conrad is looking at them, are all giggly. He texts Belly though, and he tells her that he'll see her later. Whenever Conrad is nice, I can't even get into it because I'm so anxious about how long it will last before he turns moody again. John Ambrose, Cam, shows up, and he apologizes for leaving the day before, and they go for a hangout. They go to the beach, and he brings his homemade sandwiches, but Belly's internal dialogue tells us that she can't help wishing that she were there with Conrad. Jesus, Belly, just end it. Anyway, she does end it, and he says he kind of saw it coming when she didn't invite him to the ball. He says that he's bummed, but he'll be fine, and she should be with a person who makes her happy. Steven gets a promotion at the club, and he gets to work with the poker tables. I didn't like the storyline at all, but long story short, he gets into some gambling because he wants to impress Shayla by having some extra money, and he loses a bunch of money when he joins an underground game with some rich kids. Jared suggests to Nicole that Conrad would love to go to a concert on a double date with Steven and Shayla. Conrad tells Cleveland that he likes Belly. She's always been the girl that he grew up with, and now, she's maybe more, and he's scared of messing things up. Cleveland tells him that what he's learned is that you can't be good with somebody else until you're good with yourself. Belly and Connor finally talk, and he's pretty cold. He mumbles about being drunk during the almost kiss. He says that he thinks about her, but he just can't. Belly is upset, and she calls Taylor, and they apologize to one another. Laurel and Susanna go out for a drink. They're a bit silly, they're having fun, and that evening when she gets home, Susanna gets tired heading up the stairs, and Conrad helps her up. I actually really liked the relationship between Conrad and his mom. It is really sweet. I am very worried about how he's going to cope when she gets sick though. Belly and Jared go for a swim, and he tells her that she was always his best friend, but he sometimes wished that it was more. But he always thought that it was Conrad. And then this summer it was Cam. He asks if she could ever see them, and Belly says yes, and they kiss. While this is kind of believable, it's also kind of not. I get that he was the guy who was just waiting in the wings, but he seemed completely okay with Belly hooking up with Cam. The only time I sensed that Jer had any feelings for Belly was when he almost saw her kiss Conrad. And sure, maybe he didn't realize it before then, but I think the show could have given us more clues that he had feelings for Belly before this point, like a yearning look or something. I don't know. They are very cute together though. Jeremiah is adorable. So even though I'm not a fan of love triangles that have two siblings, unless it's Stefan and Damon, this isn't too bad. In episode 6, Susanna tells Conrad that she'd like him to ask Belly to the Deb's ball. She says that she knows that Conrad has always been her Prince Charming and that Belly would love that. The next morning, Jera wants to talk to Belly about what happened, the kiss, but Belly's all twitchy and awkward and she's like, okay, maybe later. Conrad has a panic attack on the boat and Cleveland helps him out, and he tells Cleveland eventually that his mother is sick and he's struggling to keep it to himself, but he also can't bring himself to tell her that he knows. While she's getting ready for a volleyball tournament, Conrad apologizes for being a jerk the other day and pretending that he didn't remember the kiss, when really he thinks about it a lot. Then he asks her to the ball. Taylor comes over and she tries to talk some sense into Belly and make the case for Jer, but the heart wants what it haunts, and Belly's wants Conrad. At the tournament, Conrad tells Nicole that his mom wants him to take Belly to the dance. The tournament happens and it's the Conrad and Belly show and they win. Susanna, in front of Belly, is like, so did you ask her yet? So now Belly knows that Conrad didn't ask her because he came up with the idea. He asked her because Susanna asked him to. Nicole invites the girls for pizza and rosé on her dad's yacht. It's a crazy yacht. They play some kind of truth game and it comes out that Belly kissed Jeremiah. The group goes skinny dipping then, and Nicole and her friends drive off with the girls' clothes. They see a text from Conrad on Belly's phone saying that his mom might have asked him to ask Belly, but he actually wanted to ask her. Jer changes his mind and decides to go to the same party that Steven and Conrad are at. Steven says to Conrad that Shayla has a theory that Jer is hooking up up with Belly. Steven says he doesn't believe it though. While they're there, Jer asks Conrad what's going on with their mom, and Conrad says she's just tired. Nicole confronts Conrad at that party about leading her on all summer. She says she saw the text about him wanting to take Belly to the Debs ball. Anyway, they're over. Conrad and Jeremiah end up driving out to pick the girls up on the side of the road and obviously give them their clothes. Belly ends up driving home with Jeremiah and she tells him to pull over and she says, "Can you hear that? My heart is pounding." And then they kiss. It's a little more than kissing. There's some touching. Then she asks him to the ball. That evening at home, Conrad sends Belly a "you up" text and Belly goes out to him. I'm so anxious that she's going to backslide and just fall into his arms, but she tells him to stop texting her. It's triggering and bad things happen when he texts. He apologizes and he says that he does a lot wrong when it comes to her. And then he gives her her birthday infinity bracelet. He tells her that he doesn't want to lose her, but she says that it's too late and she walks away. In episode 7, the final episode of season 1, Steven tells Shayla that he lost all of his money playing poker and the ball is tonight. She tells him that he'll have to wear one of her dad's suits. Belly apologizes to Nicole and swears that she's completely over Conrad, and Nicole says that nobody really gets over their first love. Belly and Jer look adorable as partners at the Debs ball. Jer steals someone's phone then and he goes outside and he reads about the cancer trials. So yeah, he knows. While he's crying outside, Belly can't find him and it's time for the dance. Conrad pulls a Damon Salvatore at the Miss Mystic Falls move and he steps in to dance with her. He tells her that he's glad it was him. Jer walks in as they're dancing and he tells Conrad that there's something that he needs to tell him. Then he figures out that Conrad already knows and he punches him. Susanna breaks up the fight and her boys tell her that they know. Later at home, the boys ask about the trial and she says that she can't go through that again, and Conrad says that she should try. He needs her. At the end of the episode, on the beach the next day, Conrad tells Belly that Susanna has agreed to participate in the trial. He apologizes then for being a jerk all summer and he says that he nearly told her a few times about Susanna being ill. Conrad wants to kiss Belly then, but she says she doesn't want to take advantage of the fact that he needs somebody right now. In any case, she doesn't want him to need her. She wants him to want her. And he says he does, and they kiss. And that's the end of The Summer How I Turned Pretty. How I Turned Pretty This Summer. I Turned Pretty This Summer. Yeah, that's the end of the show. If you have any thoughts, feel free to share, and thank you for watching.